7:15 in Trinidad and Tobago. Continues to be bright and sunny also in the Quasi area of San Juan as pedestrians wait to cross the priority bus route indeed, as per usual, the traffic is backed up on Railway Road, on the Eastern Main Road as well. People are on the move, and we are continuing into the second hour of Morning Edition after our discussion, part two of our discussion in relation to the H1N1 virus. Let's focus on something now that certainly is becoming a real concern for many people in Trinidad and Tobago, especially young people, the issue of suicide. And the Rotaract Club of Mount Hope and the Peer Counselling Association, they have come together to host Project Hope. It stands for Hold On, Pain Ends. The event takes place on Thursday at UWI St. Augustine. It's going to be from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. to give us some perspective, one on the event, but on the broader issue of concerns related to suicide. We have two guests with us this morning. We have Ms. Anne Marie Ming Hon, International Service Director with the Rotaract Club of Mount Hope, and also with us is Aroun Bharath, who is the President of the Peer Counselling Association. Good morning to you both. Thanks very much for joining us. So before we develop our discussion into the entire concern related to suicides and the rate of suicides in Trinidad and Tobago, whether we're talking about the university environment or other areas of concern, the event that's happening on Thursday, what's it about, Ms. Ming Hon?
So this event basically it aims to raise awareness about suicidal ideation and suicide. We also want to address the stigmas associated with suicide. We want to spread messages of hope and also offer support and avenues of resources to students.
Is the intention to make it an annual event, a regular event? What's it intended to create? Who do you hope actually attend an event like this?
Our target audience is mainly students, university students, but we would like to make it an annual event because there has been an increasingly alarming rate of suicidal ideation as it relates to UWI students.
And we'll talk about that in a moment. Aroun Bharath, tell us as to what do you hope will come out of an event like this?
What I hope would come out of an event like this is more awareness. So persons know that suicide is a real thing, because some persons take it for granted. They take suicidal thoughts, ideation, self-harm, those stuff for granted. So we aim to bring more awareness so persons can find coping mechanisms to deal with these stuff. And so forth.
I mean, maybe I'm assuming something here, but would it be correct to say, Mr. Bharath, that either you yourself would know someone directly who would have committed suicide and therefore this is a very personal issue for you as well?
I haven't known someone who committed suicide, but I've met individuals who have thought about committing suicide on numerous times. As I am head of Peer Counselling Association, I know certain peers who have suicidal thoughts and who self-harm and so forth, and it's very saddening to see this stuff. And we want persons to know it's out there and to support persons around them. So your neighbor, your friend, everyone around you, just take a moment of your time and ask them how they go in, if they're good, and so forth. And something just as simple as that can help someone and for them to get by.
And Ms. Ming Hon, as far as the event is coming up, or indeed more people who want to find out more information about Project Hope and so on, what's the contact information? What do they have to do if they want to find out more?
Okay, so information concerning this event can be found on both of our Facebook and Instagram pages. Our Facebook page is Rotaract Club of Mount Hope, as well as our Instagram page, and the Peer Counselling Association's Instagram page is UWI-PCA, and the Facebook page is Peer Counselling Association. So any information pertaining to this event can be found on our pages. All
right, you've given me one of the pins which I'm wearing. What does the pin represent? So
a semicolon basically is the trademark in terms for suicide awareness. So what a semicolon is, it is when a full stop was supposed to be put in for the sentence to end, but it did not. So basically it's telling us, it is stating that you could have ended your sentence, but you chose not to. So the sentence is basically your life. So you chose not to end your life. So that's what basically the semicolon represents.
Let's talk about the issue now as it pertains to the University of the West Indies, environment, university students with all the challenges and pressures that they face. Is suicide a real concern?
Suicide is a very, very real concern. What happened is, on our first year of medical school, we were in semester 1. It was October 2017, and we were very saddened to hear that one of our colleagues, a year 2 medical student, took their life. And that really inspired us to want to make a difference. We wanted to reach out to persons because a recent study, 2017-2018 study by medical students of the University of the West Indies, found that 1 in 4 medical students suffer from suicidal ideation, which is suicidal thoughts. We also saw that the Counseling and Psychological Service at the University of the West Indies saw a 40% rise in suicide risk checks. So for the period 2016-2017, we had 116 suicide risk checks, and for the period 2017-2018, that number rose to 191 suicide risk checks.
That's very alarming.
Yes.
Is anything being done, whether institutionally or within the student body itself, to deal with this situation?
I will let my colleague,
Aroun,
Aroun.
Bharath?
All right. Well, the Peer Counselling Association works very closely with the Counseling and Psychological Services at the University of the West Indies. We are actually trained under them as well. So we identify certain peers who may have suicidal ideations, may be at risk of committing suicide, and we refer them instantly to the Counseling and Psychological Services at the University of the West Indies. The university has done a lot in terms of the Counseling and Psychological Services in making sure that students are supported in any manner and that they are supported in any issue they may be facing.
Is it the stress of exams? Is it the workload? Is it other social pressures? You know, human relationships, boyfriend, girlfriend, those combination. I mean, looking on from a distance, it's easy to make all kind of stupid jokes on whatever else. But Aroun, Bharath, from your perspective, is it a combination of things, and at a critical age in a young person's life that they reach a situation where they might actually be thinking of ending it all?
All right. Well, to begin, I want to say that globally, it has been shown that suicide is the second leading cause of death amongst persons of ages 15 to 29 years old.
The second leading.
Second leading.
Yeah.
Right, and it is a combination of various stuff. From what the Peer Counselling Association has seen so far, it's as you said, it's relationship issues, family issues, work issues, and depression as well, and it does lead to suicidal ideations and thoughts.
And Ms. Ming Hon, just to encapsulate the focus of Project Hope, just using the acronym Hold On, Pain Ends. Is it that easy to hold on? Do people actually believe that the pain is going to end if you have that dialogue with them?
Well, for something like suicide, it is a very sensitive issue. It's very complex. It's very multifaceted. There are many, many things that contribute to it, as my colleague just said. And when persons are in that moment where they feel like they cannot make it anymore, it's not really that they may want their life to end. What they really want to end is the pain and suffering. So what we want them to know is that the pain does end if you do hold on. And the most important things that people in that moment need to know is that they are not alone and the pain does end.
And I appreciate the sensitivity and indeed retaining a level of anonymity, because you don't want to be highlighting persons and all that sort of thing.
No.
But the event that's going to be happening on Thursday evening from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. at the UE in St. Augustine, what is going to be talked about at that event?
At this event, we're going to use different mediums to convey the message of suicide, to bring the awareness and address the stigmas. So we're going to have spoken word pieces. We're going to have a counselor going to come up and explain what suicide is to the students. We're actually going to have a student sharing their story of their struggle with suicide. We're going to have we're going to have musical pieces, such as in the form of singing. We're also going to have a dance, expressional dance. We're going to have a few art pieces on display. We're also going to end off this event with a vigil to commemorate those who have lost to suicide.
Is there a cost for attending?
No, there's no cost.
And as far as the role of social media, Aroun, Bharath, because again, from someone looking on from a distance, because I'm not on social media, so I wouldn't know all that goes on necessarily on there, but you get the sense that social media can be very, very harmful for those with suicidal thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
What's your perspective in relation to that?
Social media plays a major role in a young person's life, because as you know, technology is everything nowadays.
Yeah.
Right? Who persons interact with can affect how they feel, because as you know, it have a lot of issues with social media in terms of bullying, cyberbullying, and so forth. And that can lead to a person feeling down, feeling like they're lost, feeling like they're alone, right? And that's where, as my colleague said, the person feels like there's no hope, right? And that's where Project H.O.P.E comes in, Hold On Pain Ends.
And Ms. Ming Hon, should people just try and switch off from social media? Is that possible? If you sense that you might be vulnerable to that sort of bullying and so on?
Honestly, I think as I say, in moderate amounts, if you could reduce the amount of time you spend on social media, that will be a very big help. But also, you can also look at the fact that social media can be a form of support. There are different ways where people can reach out to you and offer their resources, they offer their help, someone to talk to. So in an aspect, it may be not good to turn it off completely. I mean, if you do feel like you cannot cope with what is going on, you can, but it should be in regulation. And
finally, before we conclude, is it still very much a stigma that people prefer not to talk about it? They don't want to be seen as vulnerable. They rather suffer in silence rather than speak about it?
Yes, you're very correct. It has been shown that only 20% of persons who do actually struggle with suicidal ideation do reach out for help. That means we are missing 80% of persons. So the numbers and statistics that we have stated so far are very not accurate in terms of truly the amount of persons, the amount of students who truly are suffering in silence.
All right, well, let's hope that the outreach that you all are involved with, the Peer Counselling Association and the Rotaract Club of Mount Hope, can make a positive difference with the event that's happening on Thursday from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. at the University of the West Indies in St. Augustine. And if you could just give us the contact information once again for anyone who would like to get more information.
No problem. Any information concerning this event can be found on both our Facebook and Instagram pages, Rotaract Club of Mount Hope, for the Peer Counselling Association, UEPCA Instagram, and Peer Counselling Association Facebook.
All right, well, let's hope that people take advantage of that and use social media in that context positively to be able to get as much information as you can, because information is what is going to help, and indeed good information, positive information in that regard. Coming towards 7:27, approaching 7:28 in Trinidad and Tobago. We'll be back right after this.
Try